Welcome to the Summit on Human and AI Collaboration. For me, a day like this is about getting some grounding in reality, because there's a lot of hype out there, and so it's always great to hear actual practitioners and people who have their sort of hands in the field and understand where the technology is at. So this is a hype versus reality check.
Sure. So it might help to understand the problem domain a little bit. So we're trying to solve the problem of training pilots for electric vertical takeoff aircraft. How do we enable as many pilots as possible to be trained as quickly as possible? Right now, there's probably less, I'll count on maybe two hands, the number of people who can fly these aircraft really well in the world today, right? And so the question is, how do I get that knowledge from those people to 50,000 people in the next
Is that a trust issue?
5 or 6, yes. And so the question is, okay, we have these guys who are test pilots, which are like the best of the best. How do we essentially generate an AI agent that clones the test pilots sufficiently well that we can use those clones to then train up-and-coming pilots in a scalable fashion? And so then there's a couple dimensions to that we use from Air's technology. One is the ability to evaluate. So normally when you're learning how to do this, the pilot instructor is sitting beside you and he's like, don't do that, do that. And then there's like okay, you mastered this skill, now the next skill is this. Right? So there's sort of two levels of AI that we actually are looking at bringing to play on this. One is a kind of a director, which is curating the training process. The second one is sort of the micromanager who's there sitting with you, telling you exactly what to do and how to do it. That's actually one of the things that attracted STI to Air, is that Air has this kind of horizontal platform of different technologies, including RL, which is a little bit of a black magic required to be successful kind of technology. And so when we looked at different ways to try to validate AI as part of the solution space we were thinking at, it made more sense to partner and construct a win-win construct around a POC. And so that having companies like Air, where they're sort of horizontal in the sense that they have these technologies that they can deploy to different verticals, that was great for STI in this specific case.
A lot of it is collaborating with people, right? We don't want to replace the human creative energy in any of these things, in writing, in movies, in what we want is to sort of get rid of the mundane. We want to let people to be in the flow and sort of have AI as their partners in this. And I think this I think fits really well with the themes of AI Redefined.
How do I attract and retain the next generation talent? How do literally it's a blood transfusion. And I said, well, it's the last time you made an acquisition, because you can hire one at a time, or you can buy a company that has 100 people. That would be a graft into your bloodstream of maybe the people that have the right talent and expertise.
So Ben really resonate with me. Like, we serve as a sensor, right, for the corporations, and a lot of time we look at it from an investment angle, but then there's also a bigger piece of it is what is the learning for us as an organization? Is it because to fill in a gap in capacity that we currently don't have? Or is it a new business model that it should be evolving from some of the engagements that we're working with these companies that are in emergent areas? So it's really identified that talents. I think the last panel also talked about it. Retaining, attracting talents, and you also talk about it. Is it going to be like buying a company to bring in the new blood, right?
I'd double down on that as well. I would say, specifically at STI, but also some other companies I work with, I'm a technologist, so I have to get that question, like, oh, which AI technology should we use? And I'm like, that's the wrong question. The question is, what value are you trying to create? And what is the argument you can make around that value generation? And if you have a clearer vision of what that might be, can AI technologies help you get there faster, better, quicker? And if so, do you want to hire, or do you want to partner, or do you want to buy?
We're going to see an explosion of digital twins. And that's just the reality, because it's extremely efficient to learn in that environment. Yet, it's not accurate enough that it doesn't always translate to the real world.
A couple of things I learned today. It's going to be another 26 years until we actually have a robot soccer league. I think it's going to happen sooner, but I mean, we heard it from the expert that he said it's going to be another 26 years. We learned that multimodal models are really only 50 to 60% effective today. Which, if you actually talk to most of the entrepreneurs out there, they're leading you to believe that they are much more effective than what our experts are telling us. Looking forward, there's clearly a couple of things that we need to be focused on. Trust is going to be absolutely critical for the evolution of these human AI collaborative systems. We also need AI that understands social cues, morals, and ethical principles. And that needs to be very explainable right up front to people. And that plays right into the trust of these systems. And then lastly, I think, we all agree that if you're going to implement these systems, you've got to have your stakeholders involved early.
There's a lot of talk about displacement of jobs. I think what this event was able to show is that there's also an element of, or instead an element of human augmentation. And it's not either or, it's both. And another aspect that we talked about is that it's not about a single AI technology, and sometimes it's not even AI, but it's about orchestrating a number of models, a number of technologies with humans to get to the ideal output.